Hello and welcome to Chapter 152 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing today?
So far so good. Gotta go back to work tomorrow after having, a little vacation, Christmas vacation, all that. But eh, eh, it's fine.
Yeah,
I also apologize to everybody for a couple things. One, I was doing other things like editing and watching some shows for preparations for recordings to come, and didn't realize what time it was. So we're going late because of me. Sorry.
not that
Um,
late though. 15
it's
minutes.
not, but I still feel bad because
You're a good guy, Joe. You're a good guy.
I got distracted because I gotta go back to work tomorrow, and I didn't want to.
Happens to the best of us. Well, I
And,
have a couple days left before school starts for me.
there you go. How are you doing then? Sounds like you got like some more vacation still.
I had a
Good.
couple days left. My girlfriend's birthday is tomorrow, so that's fine. And Danny, it'll
Yes.
be fun. Her parents are in, so that's going to be a fun time. Uh, Besides that, just getting ready for school. Hoping that I do not have the same course on Thursday and Friday, so that I'll get out of it without having to be taught anything this week. That's kind of the goal. Usually, the first
Yeah.
class is just here's your syllabus, get the hell out of here. So I'm hoping that I don't hoping that I don't have any more than that. That's my fingers crossed for that. Just have a relaxing end of the week. I have to catch up on some comics too. I have not gotten a chance to dive into my Radiant Black yet, so that's something that
Ooh.
I'm like, yeah, I need to get a couple of issues, at least to make myself feel good. I may try that tonight or tomorrow night, just to knock those out. But yeah, besides that, pretty good. Excited for the new year, and a happy new year to all our listeners as well.
Yes. Happy New Year, everybody.
Oh,
Hopefully it's good. Actually, I did see a comic today where somebody said Happy New Year, and they're like, "Well, what's so happy about it? By you telling me it's going to be happy means I have to be happy? Are you forcing me to be happy? Like, what if it's not happy? What about that?" And then there was like a pause, and then they was like, "Survive the year, survive the new year, survive the new year to you too." I
there
like
you
that.
go. That's a good one as well. Survive the year. Let's get to 2024. See what the DCU is going to be like. Uh,
Ugh.
but we have a little bit to talk about. Not a lot today, listeners. It's a slow week. Reminds me of my appearance on Marvel Alliance this last week because it was a slow week as well there. And slow
End
into
the
the
year,
year
like,
and
yeah.
start of the new year. Kind of gets a bit
I
slow.
mean, we're gonna get.
We have a
We
new
are.
episode of Doom Patrol to talk about.
Yes, but we
And
we will be getting more news here, hopefully soon, with the DC
you.
movies going forward with Gunn and Saffron. So who knows?
I'm interested how they play that too, Joe, with the other movies there, that if they don't connect or anything, what's your play? Is it to wait as long as possible to announce your new stuff? Then you could be feared to get scooped. So like scoopers could get it and get it out there. So there's always it is an interesting topic. But before we get into anything else, DC, let me get the network plugs out of the way. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 8 shows in total. On Mondays is Ranger Alliance, and that rotates bi-weekly with Slice of Film. On Tuesdays is DC Alliance. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays, bi-weekly, is a walk through the multiverse. On Sundays, monthly, is World's Finest True Believers. DC Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Star Wars Alliance goes live Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those shows also have their own podcast feed. Search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance if you just want Marvel content, DC content, or Star Wars content. But if you want all 8 shows on GUA Podcast Network, stay subscribed to GUA and your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier, and a $5 tier. $1 tier is basically tip jar, like what we're doing. You want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras, you get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes, like myself and Joe's DC films through the years, where we go through all the DC films through the year. You have the Marvel Alliance guys doing their MCU rewatch, breaking down everything in the MCU canon. We have Clay doing his watches for the first time. Right now, he's on Game of Thrones. We have Katie doing Star Wars comics with her husband. And we have Joe's Multiverse Minutes. So we thank everyone that's a patron. But if you're not a patron, if you take a quick 30 to 60 seconds to rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice, that's always greatly appreciated. It helps listeners find the show, find the other shows and network. That's always a good thing. And there is a programming note. I saved that for the very end, Joe. You know what? Gonna let you fill that in because it's your show. It's your
Uh,
show.
Sounds good. Yeah, the programming note, guys, is in 2 weeks. A Walk to the Multiverse and Animation Nation are going to be swapping days because I am going to be covering Last of Us on HBO, and I'll be covering weekly, and I didn't want to cover it the day before the new episode comes out. So
Ugh.
we are swapping it up. So Walk to the Multiverse will be going weekly as of January 18th. And I'll be covering Last of Us every week.
It
With
comes out on
that.
Sundays, right?
Comes out Sundays.
Yeah.
Episode will go out Wednesday because I won't be able to watch it Sunday night to put out like Monday or Tuesday. And then Monday we have this plus whatever other
It's
things
actually
we
probably
tend to record.
It's actually probably better for you too, though, because you get
Oh
that
yeah, I'll
day
get
to like even look at the heavy spoilers or
yep,
something like just to break down
exactly.
some of the
So
game things you might miss. So that's always a good thing to have that extra space a day. But you don't,
mhm,
like you said, you don't want to go too long. You get your problems. I can remember Joe writing into DCTV Squadcast way back when because Supergirl would come out a new episode on Sunday nights, and
mhm,
their new episodes for
was
their podcast would come out
Thursdays.
on Mondays. I think
Was it
at that
Mondays?
point in time, I think it was Mondays at that point in time.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that, but they were like they would their episode of Supergirl talking about Supergirl would be a week behind when I would watch it. So I wrote them in. I remember Brent changed around the schedule, their recording schedule, to make sure they didn't fall a week behind for Supergirl. So I always think it makes sense, and I was happy to change with you, especially this is going to be a big show, so I'm happy for
Well,
you.
yeah, and that's
Like,
and that's the big thing. Like I'm gonna be recording Tuesday nights, if possible, maybe Monday night. But it's gonna be one of those things where if you guys have any like thoughts, if you're watching the show and you want to talk to me about it on Twitter and give me your thoughts of the episode at Walk the Verse, my DMs are open. Send them there, and I can bring them up in the show themselves. But yeah, that's program note. Obviously, Animation Nation will be moving to Saturday for that duration. I think it's 9 or 10 episodes, so at least 9. So we'll have a month and a half
we're doing an old show. We're doing an old show now,
or
Joe.
2 months.
We'll be fine over here at Animation
Yeah,
Nation.
yeah.
Look, I think it's a good spot for Saturday morning cartoons going
There
in
you
on
go.
Saturdays. I think
There you go.
it just works well. But yeah, happy. So check that out. I'm gonna try and keep up with that show, and if I do, I will try and join Joe for maybe we can do an episode after or before DC Alliance as well. So
It's all yeah. It'll depend because I got no problem
I
doing
may
it
not
Monday
catch
and
up.
then dropping it early. But
I may not catch up on it either. See, so I may not keep up with it. So
yeah, well, yeah.
it's
I
all
mean,
something.
depending on if I am on the job, I should, in theory, should be on at work. I'll be able to watch it at work. I won't be able to take notes. I'll do that like when I get
You
home.
can watch a
But
second time and then like
exactly, and
yeah,
actually see and focus and
it'll be
so
fun.
yeah,
It'll be fun.
I'm looking
Uh,
forward to it. I love the game. So and the series just so far looks great. I'm interested to see what they do, how it plays out. I know Travis Snell and I think even Clay had mentioned of possibly trying to play the game before the show came out, and I thought about
cool.
doing it too, but pretty heavy game, so I don't
It's
think
a
I could
long
finish it in
game.
a week.
I can remember
Well,
I got it with my PlayStation 3 and I didn't redeem the code. And my friend was trying to buy the code off me, and I was like, "No, I'm gonna play this game one day." Never did. Never did.
oh, such
Yeah.
a good game.
One
I
day I'm gonna
love
get
the
into
second
it.
game too. The second game was so good. Anyway, sorry.
Notice fine and Andy. We have the time tonight, Joe. We have the time.
Yeah,
time.
that is true.
That's our lead in for the first topic, the main topic of the night, or the opening topic. We'll say I don't know if we have a main topic per se, but
Yeah.
we had a little thing come out. There's a movie tie-in comic for the Batman called Riddler Year One, and it's written by Paul Dano, the person who plays the Riddler.
Which is
And
cool.
yes, it's super cool. The second issue is out, and there is a nod to Metropolis in it. There's a woman going for the train, and she's holding a ticket, and on the ticket it says Metropolis is her destination. She never gets on the train, but it's rather interesting because that book is supposed to be canon. Uh,
Yes,
S-Bub said, I wanted to play the game before the show, but I'm only a few hours in and I doubt I'll finish it. Yeah, that's going to be tough, S-Bubs, to finish it. But
it's such a wonderful game, S Bubs. It
I
really
believe
is.
We believe in you over here that you could do it.
I mean, you got 2 weeks before the show starts, and you've already seen what the first episode is going to be, so you're fine.
You just have to ignore everything else going on in your life right now.
Not
Uh,
really. Like, I mean, you could play it.
I don't know how
Maybe.
long
I
it
don't know.
is though,
It's
but
it's not a fair. It's not a short game, but it's not a terribly long game. Like it's a open. Well, it's a storyline single player. Like those are 40 hours,
mhm.
maybe.
So
Anyway,
Joe, this uh, Metropolis Easter egg in this tie-in comic is supposed to be like actual canon to the Batman world. What do you think about this? This is there was another name drop of Metropolis in the novelization of the Batman script. I'm told from the digging I did, I never read that actual novelization, but this is actual in canon. Uh, S-Pups, I'm sorry. S-Pup says, I can only handle a game at an hour at a time because I get too stressed out by the game. I've heard that about that and The Walking
yeah.
Dead and
No,
a couple other games.
there was a few moments when I played it where I'm just like, oh, I gotta get past this boss, or I gotta get past this level because I'm freaking out. Like, I get it. And it also came at a bad time. There was somebody in my not family related, but somebody that was close to the family passed away. So it was just like I had put the game off because I found it. I was told about it the day I started playing the game. I'm like, I'm gonna hold off on this for a minute, especially after the opening scene. So I get getting stressed out by that game. Just saying.
Yeah, it's a pretty expansive game.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, sorry. We keep getting distracted.
we could, so it's my bad there for
No,
the,
it's all good.
but anyway, uh, I don't know what this means. Do you think we could see Metropolis in Reeves' the Batman? There are
It's
rumors and
always
scubbub about the Batman maybe being the Batman of the DCU.
yeah,
Uh,
it's always a possibility to have other cities. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they, I don't know, name drop Midway City. That's where Hawkman is,
or Central
or
City,
Central City for flat, like
or
or
Bloodhaven.
Keystone, whatever. Like Bloodhaven would make sense, but
Yes.
like all these other cities where other superheroes live, it's for them to name drop them. Yes, it sounds like they're expanding the world and expanding the universe, and that's great. I don't think we should read too much into it. On the flip side of that, would I love for this Batman to be the Batman of the new ongoing DCEU? Yeah, it'd be awesome. It's already got a good, solid start to a movie. It's got a good, solid fan base. I would love for it to continue on and for Robert Pattinson to play with other characters and see how he goes. But I'm trying to stay I'm trying to stay not get my hopes high. You saw what I was gonna do there. I'm
Yeah.
trying to keep my hopes high and just be like this. When Matt Reeves took on this role, he's like, "Hey, I just want to do these 3 movies. I don't want to do anything else." And which it worked great for Nolan. You know, the Dark Knight trilogy is an amazing trilogy. So if it is not connected, okay, fine, and that sucks, but it's not the end all be all. You know?
I'm probably in the same camp as you, Joe. I'm in two minds of this because I enjoy it on its own. Like what you just said about Reeves, he's already expanded to do to TV like
Correct.
show, so he can be like amiable, I guess, because I'm sure they caned him to do you have anything else that you want to do like Batman adjacent, like for our streaming services and stuff. But I don't know. In this world, I find it really hard to see this Batman and a Superman like even anywhere near interact, like, just for the
That's
what they've established, but you could age this
actually
Batman
perfect.
up a little bit.
Well,
What?
I'll say it's actually perfect that this Batman is set up to be so independent because that's how Batman is. He is a character that he doesn't want the help from anybody.
Oh, I'm just saying, like,
And
in the
when
just
you get a Superman to come in, it's just like, I don't like you. I don't trust you. Hmm.
I know that all those dynamics would work perfectly. I just, like I find it harder to believe of this version of Batman interacting and fighting, like, superpowered beings and stuff,
Okay.
just from the grounded real world that Matt Reeves made.
I don't know. According to Clay, he's a superpowered being himself.
Yeah, oh, for that one explosion that didn't kill him, but, I mean, they were shooting automatic weapons at him, he was walking straight towards them, so, like, he does have some sort of armor on there.
What? What?
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, sorry, I had to pull that jab in.
Oh, yeah, it's just it's with the Batman, but
Yeah.
it's super successful, so I can see it, but at the very least, I wouldn't want it to happen until Reeves had his 3 movies. Like, if you bring
Correct.
the Batman finished of the trilogy in, I'd be okay with it, but if
Yeah,
you're bringing him in while still having this trilogy on the go, I think that's not helpful to either side at the moment.
I wouldn't want. I'd be okay with him with Patterson's Batman cameoing in other movies, but I don't think like a Superman or a Wonder Woman should come into the Batman movies
Mhm,
just because
agreed
the
with that.
world that's been set up in the Batman, the first Batman movie. I'm not saying that can't happen, and I'm not saying that we will never see that ever, or there won't be ever hints at that. I just don't think what has been set in motion now needs to be mixed up with a superpowered being.
Agreed on that. It's just it's the
Okay.
shiny object there that is an easy fix. I preferably would like to have another Batman just in the DCU, like the
Yeah.
cast of Batman that's 5 years in, maybe.
Agreed. I
But
it's already here, it's already successful, and people just want something that is already established to be built upon.
yes, I agree with that. The cohesion and not having
Mhm.
multiple Batmans run around. There was a point in time we had 4 Bruce Waynes running around if you count Batwoman, uh, Titans, the Batman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, and that's not even including Keaton
Yeah.
in Batgirl and which obviously did happen, and Aquaman and Flash, like
Yeah.
because those
So
2 movies haven't come out yet, and one of the scenes is already cut. So,
So
uh,
it was a little bit, or could people reinsert it? We don't know at
yeah, we
this
don't know
point.
yet. We don't know.
It's chaos. But anyway, I could see it going either way, and it's not like I'm not going to support it. It's just like I think we're both of the mind of let him finish his trilogy if you're
Yeah,
going to Batman.
I mean, I'm all
It'll be
for him.
hard to explain how this Batman can jump universes in another film. I don't know how you can't explain
No,
that in the
we're gonna.
Batman
It's
film.
gonna happen in the Flash, so we're totally fine with that, right?
Well, who knows? Maybe we see this Batman's as he's going through the Earths. Maybe you
I
see
said
this
there is a
Batman.
yeah, there is a possibility we could see that.
So who knows? There, Joe. We'll take our first ad break of the evening, listeners. We're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. Let's get into the news roundup before we hit Doom Patrol and get out of here this evening. We've gotten our first look at what Leslie Grace's end of film costume, I assume, like her last
The
costume,
final battle
final
outfit.
battle
Yeah,
costume.
yeah.
And I gotta say, it looks pretty tight. It looks very nice. It just makes me wish that I could see this film a
I
little bit more, to
know.
be honest with you.
Well,
And
and they
also,
also had there was like a behind the scenes shot that was released as well, and Batgirl was a Christmas movie. She was
yes,
tackling a Christmas tree.
and I love that. It looked like that's not how that was supposed to go at all.
No. Yeah,
It looked like shit kind of went off the rails for her.
yeah. I don't know, but it everything we're seeing coming from this just makes me more sad because
Agreed.
we're not getting this movie.
There was another slideshow of pictures I saw that included her
Yeah.
holding up the Firefly. That was nice. I still don't think this hasn't been written off yet. It's supposed to be written off in the next quarter. So yeah, the
Hmm.
stuff they've written off, it hasn't like this film is not one of them. It has to be. I'm pretty sure that's what I read. It was next quarter.
So
So technically,
theoretically,
it could like not even theoretically, legally, there's still because once it's written off, you legally cannot put it back out
correct.
for monetary gain because you've written it off. So now that could end up on YouTube, and there's no monetary gain in that. So there is like a way for it to end up on the dark web somehow for
Sure,
no.
but this is a movie so many people have been like we're interested in before. since it got canned, I've just seen nothing but love for it. Like, even if you don't put it out in theaters and you don't put it out on HBO Max, put it out on Blu-ray. I'll buy 2 copies of it. I don't care. Like,
Joe, that's
I'll get
100%
it,
right. Not even Blu-ray. The fact that you can
or
make
just
this an
digital, whatever.
Elseworld story. Make this an Elseworld story.
Yeah.
Like, geez, you got a Joker going on, you got the Batman going on. You could make this an Elseworld story. It doesn't have to be direct to HBO Max. And hell, they love selling their products to other streaming services. You don't think there's a streaming service that would take this movie
Well,
and
it's not that they
like
love; they kind of have to. They're,
I know they need
but they,
cash flow, but they need direct cash
yes,
flow right now.
you are
But you
correct. Like,
Amazon Prime,
Amazon would like eat this up. I mean, there's already. I think it was shared in the chat. There was a Wednesday
yeah.
is probably not going to be back on Netflix because of the rights that the Adams family is under MGM, and Amazon has those rights. But I mean, I still haven't watched Wednesday. I meant to watch it over my break.
Very good, Joe.
I got
Very
distracted.
good.
I'll get to it
It,
eventually.
I wasn't planning on watching it, but Allison's watched it twice, and
Nice.
through her 2 watches, I've gotten to watch the whole series pretty much, and
Um,
it's
but,
very good. So
but
yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
this
like
is
you can see it somewhere else. Like, it's not. Would I love for it to be HBO Max? Sure, but there's people like you in Canada who don't have HBO Max, so Amazon Prime could get the most eyes because that's everywhere.
I have that. I have that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be. I could totally see that as an avenue. But like I said, I don't think it's written off yet. I'm probably going to send Pud33 on Twitter a DM because while I'm trying to become an accountant, he straight up is a financial mastermind, if I'll say.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm going to probably write him and just make sure. But I do think that is not written off yet. I think it's another quarter that has to go down the line another little bit before it can be written off.
Okay.
So
Fingers crossed then.
yeah, you never know. Make that push, and with James Gunn there, I think an Elseworlds story, if you're not going to main continuity, it could be great. So, and having that film, it just blows my mind that you have a fully finished film that just needs to be edited, and
Well,
you
and
won't
here,
put that out.
and the fun thing is, you can put it out. You don't have to call it Elseworlds yet.
No,
Put it out, see the reaction. If it's positive, okay, cool. No, this is part of the main line now.
yeah, this is
Because
our
I mean,
background.
we don't have to. It'd be hard because as of right now, the main line is ending, and
Well,
this would have
Keaton is the
been.
Batman in this, so mainline is not really mainline. This could be, this could happen on the Earth that the Flash goes to, that Keaton's on.
I'm gonna say if it did that, it would have to be after the Flash.
Oh yeah, but like I'm just hoping that it comes out,
I'm just
right? Like,
saying,
yeah,
I'm not saying anything else. No comment. As as Clay said in the chat yesterday when that thing got released, we'll.
no, that was the. I'll say this: I've seen multiple scoopers say that's not a real thing. The that's not the real picture that's supposed to go with. I've seen multiple scoopers say that wasn't legit, and I've seen other people say that it was made out of the old Batman
I thought we
costume.
knew that.
So it's supposed, yeah, like same. I thought the same thing. I
Yeah.
didn't think anything of the picture when I
And when
saw
you
it.
look at the picture, it is the Batman costume. Like, you
Yes,
see the the cowl, and you
yeah.
see that. I don't know.
Sometimes it's funnier to make fun, but
It's
anyway,
something.
yeah, I fingers crossed that Batgirl comes. There was a nice little. They have a nice little clip, like I said, and a couple other things. So follow the Batgirl Film News Twitter page because that's still pretty active when it comes to that. So DC released a new short to promote Shazam 2 in Japan. Wasn't much to this really.
No.
He just wished people in Japan a happy new year, made some jokes about being a teenage superhero or a teenager that transforms into a superhero,
Yeah.
and clips from trailers that we've seen. But still, I like seeing the early marketing for this. I really hope this film does well. It'll be interesting to see
I
after
think it will.
this will be the first film after the DCU announcement,
Yeah.
and this continuity ending or this and starting anew. So I'll be interested to see if they get people, if people will not come out at all, how this goes.
Being the first one.
It's going to make more than the last one, I think.
Well, I would say being the first one after the announcement that the DCEU is technically dead. It's gonna be it'll definitely set the precedent for Flash and Aquaman.
Yes.
I mean,
Those are bigger characters, though.
Blue,
Aquaman, I
I
think,
still think Blue Beetle by itself is gonna do fine, but this one connected to the DCEU as it is will set the precedent for Flash and Aquaman. Yeah, Aquaman, like you were saying, Aquaman will probably be okay because of Momoa's like
and
presence.
just the international like hit that it was
Yeah,
last time. Like I'm sure same thing. You'll get. I don't know if you get the same numbers, but you'll get some. Most of those people will come out to watch it at least once.
yeah.
Yeah,
I really think it'll be. I think it'll do fine, but we won't know until is it March or May? May is it March?
March 17th is Shazam's date of release. I know that
Man, that's a
because
big week.
I'm scheduled to be able to make this as of now. So
Well,
fingers
because that's
crossed
gonna
on
be in theory that should be the end of Last of Us. That is the beginning of Superman Lois, which also my plan, and I forgot to tell you this before we started recording, only because I got here late. I am going to watch 3 episodes a week
that. Ooh.
and then give a little like
What you
thoughts
like,
on those
what you
three
disliked,
episodes
yes.
leading up into it. And we do that like around like either just before Smallville talk or just after Smallville talk. And that if I do 3 a week, that'll put it right up to the beginning of season 3.
Perfect.
So
I think you'll enjoy them. I really do.
we'll
There's
see.
a lot of great Superman content in there. There's some CW-ness, but it doesn't really spill out as much until the second season for the
Oh, fun.
CW.
But yeah, but
Yeah.
that's gonna be a big week because we've got three. I've got 3 things I gotta watch because I definitely gotta go watch a movie. Obviously,
Yeah, 100%.
weird. It's like I'm
Okay.
on a podcast that talks about that.
A fun fact, The Batman was the most watched HBO Max movie in 2022, according to Flix Patrol, which I think would go back more to what we were talking about earlier, but potentially bringing that into the DCU. That was bigger, that was more watched than Wonder Woman, more watched than the Suicide Squad, and the Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman were simultaneous
Mhm.
releases, so you could stay home and watch those, or instead of going to the theater, Batman, you had 45 days. You had to go to the theater to watch it first, and then you could watch it on HBO Max. So I was a little shocked that this was the biggest of all those films
Plus,
with
it's a
some of
3-hour
D and D.
movie.
Yes,
It's so it's long. Which I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's long and uh, watching at home. You can stop it. Obviously, you can pause it, go do what you got to do, and come back. But it's a good movie. It's worth it. I'm happy
Mhm.
that it made the most watched list. But damn, it also had like Wonder Woman only had. I mean, if you go by the year, they had like 2 weeks.
Subscribers. And you had the subscribers too.
Yeah,
That's the thing. I know people are saying might be starting out now, like they have more subscribers every year. Like they gain subscribers. So,
but
but still, Wonder
here's
Woman
the other
was
thing though.
released on Christmas, so that was another like that was a big deal.
Well, here's the other thing though. Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad, they released both on in theaters and HBO Max at the same time, but then you only had 30 days on the
Yes.
platform, and then it went away for like 2 months.
Yeah.
Whereas Batman dropped 45 days after theaters
I
and then
stayed
just
there.
there. So
Yes,
you
that's
had,
true.
I mean, if you think of it that way, it being number one watched with those numbers would make sense. It had more time.
Yeah, it did have more time. Like I said, it's all about like there's several different factors, so you'd have to
Yeah.
see how much each variable does affect it. Like, it if you just have it on HBO Max, we get more people, but maybe because so more people got to see it in theaters, they went to HBO Max afterwards to watch it
Yeah,
again.
and watch it
So
again, yep.
there are possible things, but it's
I
just
still haven't, but,
really
I'll get
I
there.
don't I can't. So uh, yeah, it's
Fair.
still it's nice that a DC title like that was number one. So props to that. Joe, we have some merchandise released for the Flash, and there is a image going around, but I'm going to wait until I can confirm that's 100% official before I go sharing that. But there is a Batwing uh, with the Flash and Batman, Keaton's Batman, the new Batwing. So I'm excited to see that. Uh, to see if there are any improvements. Will we get to see much of Keaton in the Batwing? That was a really one of my favorite things from Batman '89 with his Batwing. So yeah, I just thought it was cool, and I hope they start getting some of this marketing out for this film because I still haven't heard anything about it anywhere. Uh, I assume there is rumblings of a Super Bowl commercial, so we'll stick for that. There's nothing confirmed on that yet, but
Correct.
that's just what people are
I
thinking.
know, I said this last year. My neighbor who's working on it said we will get one soon. I assumed by the end of the year, but I mean, Super Bowl still technically soon. So
That's true too. So probably
yeah,
February, I assume, and we'll break it all down here whenever we get it.
right.
Our
Yeah.
final,
Well, I just got
sorry.
there's some news in our G Ray chat because I was just checking
Ooh,
that. Like news, big like showstopper. Not really. This is current rumor. The Blue Beetle movie's recent test screenings have reportedly gone extremely well. So yay! That's
not
awesome.
shocked at all because of
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
that we've heard coming out of it, but family being a big part of it. Hashtag family.
Hashtag family.
Uh, I'll read out exactly what they have here about some of the fans. Big screen links to respond. Uh, have reaction scenes extremely well. It's lots of hand-to-hand combat action sequences, and they sound super interesting. From tech screenings, who's gotten the most praise for their performance in Blue Beetle, Zolo, and George Lopez is the other thing
Awesome.
that they said here. So, like I said,
I'm
really
looking
good.
forward to it.
I'm super excited. I think that's what I'm most excited about because of the potential of that to transition into the DCU.
Exactly. I mean, we don't know if it will, but hey, I'm not going to say no to it.
And I also love new comic characters getting out there for the world
Yep.
to see. That's always a great thing. Yes,
I mean,
he's
yeah.
been in animation, but still.
Don't get me wrong. I love a Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman movie. I mean,
Yes,
Wonder Woman was
him.
new, in 2017, whenever she came out.
Yeah, 2017.
Was it 17 or 16?
17, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like technically, like she had the '70s show, which is great, and then a couple of failed um test
TV movie
TV pilots.
pilot things.
Yeah, things like that. So, but Superman, Batman obviously have been around forever. So getting these new characters, like we got Green Lantern in 2006, was it great? No, but it was a character that hadn't been put on live action yet. We got the Flash on TV, we got Green Arrow on TV. Like seeing characters that are not the big three, I'm all for. We need more of that.
And also representation as well. Getting
100%.
getting the Latin community represented like this and getting a superhero that they haven't had before is it's just a cherry on top for me of exposure for this character.
Yeah.
So excited to see it and nice to hear that these early screenings are going well. It's better than the antithesis of that where you're hearing it's terrible and there's all kinds of problems.
Yep.
We have a final thing to talk about tonight, which is they released Tegan Craft Raven's White Raven costume, and I think it
We
looks
saw it at the end of the last episode. Like, I don't know why this is a tease.
I,
It's whatever. Like, I'm fine with it. But
yeah,
why? Give us a release date. Let me know what.
yeah. There you go. There you go. Don't show me. Don't show me a costume.
When I watched Doom Patrol, there was a teaser for Titans on there. I'm like, oh, cool. Maybe this will give us a date when it's coming back. Nope. It's just
No.
literally the trailer of like, hey, catch up right now.
Yes, Joe. And I will say about this, like some people are hating on this. The cloak, the white cloak, is very perfect for me to what like the animation and comic counterpart. It's just the inside that's a little different, but you don't see that. Like I did not see that when we saw her in the last episode. I more saw the hood and the like, so I didn't really notice what she was wearing under the hood or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. She had the cloak on, and I was
Yeah.
focused more on the story.
Yes,
So,
same. So it's just we want to know when this is coming back. We don't want first looks at transformations we've already seen.
yeah, you already shown us this. I don't need it.
Okay, we'll take our final ad break of the evening before we talk about the episode of Doom Patrol. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or volume. I'm going to give you a quick recount to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Ooh, I was a little too early on that. I have to change the time back a little bit, but yeah. a couple seconds on the ball on that ad break, but we're back with our final review here,
I
Joe,
can't change it. It's not changing. It hates me.
to Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not changing for me either. It's stuck on
Oh, we broke it.
Titans. It's
Okay,
stuck on
hold on.
Titans. So we're going to have the Titans background as we talk about Doom Patrol because it's not working to
Yeah, I
fix
don't
right
know
now.
what's up. Hmm.
It froze for me as well. So
We
we'll,
broke it.
we'll, we'll power
Titans
on.
forever.
Titans, Titans is taking control of this network.
Oh God, please
It's not a
no.
good thing. This is not a good thing. Network's going to go down in flames.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're here to talk about Doom Patrol. Just ignore the Titans background
Yeah,
if you're watching on
Titans.
YouTube. It's stuck that way.
Yeah, Titans
Uh,
trying to kill us. Just
season
like
four,
Superman.
season 4, episode 5. Joe, would and StreamYard just crashed, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But we're back. I can edit that out. It's still recording, and we're still
Hey,
live.
we got Doom Patrol up finally.
Yes, and Doom
Ah,
Patrol, great. Doom Patrol fought back, overcame, and took out the Titans
you
to
know what? I, I
resave the network.
I think StreamYard knew that we were gonna have such a short episode because we had not a lot to talk about. They're like, hey, let's throw a complication in there for them.
How can we make Travis stay up just a little bit longer to edit this episode? Here you go. Thank you, StreamYard, so much,
I don't know, keep it all
Joe.
in there. Having that just spot of like nothing might freak the listeners out that don't watch the show on
Or
YouTube.
make them not, or make them stop listening, thinking the
Well,
episode's over.
I've definitely had a few different podcasts where I'm like listening to it and then it just nothing, and I'm like, what? I look at it real quick, like, no, I still got like 5 minutes left. Why isn't that what? Anyway,
I'll make sure. I'll make sure to cut that up
you
in
got that. Okay.
post there a little bit.
All
Yeah,
right.
see,
Doom
we're
Patrol.
talking about Doom Patrol, season 4, episode 5, Youth Patrol. Joe, what do you think about this episode right off the top?
Kind of blah. Like it was I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened, but them Rita waking up after getting her immortality taken out of her and then trying to find something to fix it and then getting cursed and then in turn cursing the group. um okay, I get the concept. I saw it done on Futurama, where they all get to the fountain of youth and they start aging backwards and then they can't fix it because so they start aging like it's supposed to age them. That ages them to teenagers, and then it keeps aging them back to when they were like nothing. Um, yeah, like I've seen it before. Like I'm fine with it, but
I enjoyed this episode. I had a great time with a lot of this. Willoughby Kipling, especially.
yeah, Willoughby's great. I mean,
Uh,
don't get me wrong. There were some surprising things, and we'll get into it. But for me personally, I was just like meh. But I also was doing multiple things, so I wasn't paying attention probably as much as I should have. And I was
I there was a lot of this I did enjoy. There was some parts of it that had me questioning, but there was a lot of character development and growth for a lot of our characters here in this episode. Uh, let's just jump in and talk about, I guess, each of our Doom Patrol members as they go about things. We'll focus on Larry first to get
yep,
he's off from the group. I've really enjoyed his story. I thought that was quite emotional, and the connection to Mr. 104, but both of them were experimented on at the
yeah.
Bureau. Those were some terror, like gut wrenching scenes where like they rip the mask off Larry and kill all those people just to experiment and see what levels of radiation he
But
has.
that and Mr. 104, Rama,
Yeah,
same
Rama.
thing. Like he was forced to do the experiment and kill all the people around him just because. So it was one of those things where I feel like Keeg was drawing them together because they had such a similar backstory.
Yes.
And now they are either friends or they are going to be a thing. I don't know how well, obviously, because Larry can't really.
I feel like
His hands are off.
I feel like Mr. 104 is still going to be loyal to Immortus
I
at
think
the
so.
current time, but I think he's going to be the one to help them escape or get out of the conundrum that they're in, and have a chance at saving the Earth. I think he's going to be the one. He may end up sacrificing himself, but I really think the friendship and this part of connection that he's developed with Larry will
Yeah,
definitely
which
come into play fair
we
amount.
saw that in the episode when they were in the Rita's movies. Once 104 realized what was going on, he got released from whatever. He tried to save Rita from falling off the bridge.
Yeah.
So the whatever friendship, you're right, that him and Larry have, I think will help in the long run.
Yes, and he at the very end, Larry gets Keith back and goes through this green portal, green gateway, uh,
Yeah,
and we don't know where
that
he
was
ends up.
interesting because what we saw was a pair of scissors literally cut him out of reality.
There's only one person that I thought of for that,
Oh, who's that?
to Mr. Nobody.
Okay,
I
which
was wondering if he
he
could
got
come
brought
back.
up. His name got brought up, but I'm gonna say probably not because the trailer showed like a group of people with scissors for hands.
Yeah, well, that's
So
definitely not the case. Yeah, so that was a guess for me. That definitely was not. I should have watched the trailer. That's
it came on after. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I usually do, but I just haven't the last couple weeks for the show. Yeah, so Larry's. We'll put a pin in Larry to revisit next episode, but I'm
Yeah.
really interested to see how it's going to work with him, with Keeb. I guess we'll jump to Cyborg because it's quicker. Well, the main story for the rest of the people, like Joe said about Rita, uh, basically aging now. She feels terrible about that. She goes down to Niles' basement lab to look for something, finds these potions that should never been using. What they call it? Extremely
It had
unpredictable,
experimental,
experimental.
untested, dangerous,
Yeah,
and it was
and
a lockbox. And she's like, "Okay, open. What's this?"
she drops it as Willoughby Kipling arrives, and tells everyone to assemble because he has to tell talking about Mortis. He comes out, they all inhale the fumes, and they all start to DH. They're back in their teens,
Hmm.
and Willoughby informs them that if this goes on for too long, they'll go back to basically nothing to before they were born. So it's a big holy crap. We need to get this going, and I'll jump into the old car Cliff had from the previous episode, and go for a road trip to find Willoughby's old master, the one person
Hmm.
that taught him magic. So to help him. So that was their goal, and they get completely sidetracked as the Doom Patrol did, and that's what I really enjoyed about this episode because
Okay.
any other superhero team would be on task. You do this, you do this, you do this. Let's get things going, and make sure we get this taken care of. And Doom Patrol heard about potential in the universe event, and they're partying with teenagers. They wanted to go to a party. I just loved that whole thing with Jane and Robot Man finding them, interacting with them. It was
Yeah,
I really enjoyed all that.
that was fun. Um, the scene with Jane, like she gets high for the first time,
Mhm.
like as herself, because she had explained it. She's the primary now, but she actually came into being after Miranda was
A
gone.
teenager, yeah.
And yeah, Miranda had already gone through the teenage years. Jane came in probably when she was in her 20s,
Mhm.
um, and that it took over from there. So she's experiencing teen years for the first time, and she is kind of sort of struggling with it. She has a moment where she has like a vision and she sees Kay, um and is like apologizing to her, and Kay basically says like, this is you're doing okay. This is our body, not just mine. It's our body. And it like was good for Jane. Like she needed to see that. What One part I did think was pretty cool was then they DH'd again, and Jane
It
is
was K.
is K, but it's still Jane's mentality. I thought that was kind of fun.
Yes, and I really enjoyed that little spot, Joe. That was a little heartwarming, especially when Kay told her, like, "It's our body, like, just don't
Hmm.
stop feeling this way." I hope that that might be a catalyst for her to change, but the puzzle is I have question marks about that. Jane was great. I thought that Vic was great as well. Like basically, stop not being a nerd and partying. That's essentially what his little story arc was. And at a certain point, I think he got too too high and went back to see his old friend, and he de-aged a second time after he
Yeah,
knocked on the door, and that
and
was pretty crazy.
that's one of those things where it's like, what do you do with that situation? Like, I know you're my good friend Vic, and you are 10 years old. What?
Yes, and also, well, because of the previous episodes ago where they got together and Vic told a few stories about some crazy things that happened with Doom Patrol, I assume he would probably get a handle on this a little quickly, and maybe seeing a young Vic might be a catalyst for them to get their friendship back on the go. But
It
I
it was in
did
the
think,
trailer.
yeah, okay,
You
yeah.
should watch the trailer.
I'm gonna have to watch the trailer. Uh, yeah, so I did enjoy Vic's little story as well, and Cliff's was as generic as can be for 98% of it,
Yeah.
where he was partying and being cool, and I loved seeing those shots. But also, he did get extremely mad at the end and said he's not going with them because nobody asked anything about how Cliff was doing after all this crap.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, yeah, his body's not changing because it's a robot body, but I mean, it's his mind still kind of is. Like, he's
well, he
still
was getting Parkinson's last
sure,
year.
yeah, and he's
Yeah.
still. I mean, it kind of sort of was coming back.
Yes.
Yeah, he's not doing great, but he's hiding it. But at the
Mhm.
same time, everybody else is having their own problems and trying to deal with that. Like,
That's true as well. And there is the whole Rita and Madame Rouge as well, where Rita essentially doesn't want having to do with her. Madame Rouge has this very great, heartwarming
it's a nice
apology.
heart to heart.
Yes, and she reveals that she is de-aging as well, but she's using her powers to hide it.
Yeah,
And she is in such distress in this conversation that she changes back to her normal self. They seems like I think they might be reconciled, which is a
I
great thing.
think so. Yeah.
I watched the trailer.
Oh, I don't know about that part.
Okay,
No,
okay.
but
I
they
don't.
kinda show it here because, Rita, like, lays it out, like, "You were my best friend. You when I was having a problem, I looked to you, and then you betrayed me and the one guy and the sisterhood, like, you screwed all of us over, and I can't trust you anymore. Like, I don't like you and I hate that I don't like you." And then Rouge just like, I know, and I'm so sorry.
I
There's nothing I
don't
can do about
deserve
it. I
forgiveness. Yeah,
correct. And like she breaks down, and then we do see them, they're younger 10 like tweens now, um, hugging, comforting each other on the bench. So I'm thinking that relationship, while not fully mended, is on the path to be better again.
yeah.
So
I really think there was a lot of good character building throughout this entire episode. At the very end, we get the people that we saw Willoughby Kipling with earlier in the season, including the bunny
I
uh,
like the money.
that blows dust into Willoughby and changes him back to an adult.
Which
And
this
this
is the part
part,
I
but
question.
I'm going to talk about this for a second first
Yeah.
because we get Willoughby telling all the Doom Patrol earlier on in the episode that uh, Niles took the necklace that he had, chipped off shards of it, and basically mixed it in with Larry, mixed it in with Cliff, mixed it in with Rita, and mixed it in with
Jane.
Jane.
Yep.
So they all were immortal. And I loved how he was like, "Haven't you guys ever questioned why none of you have aged since '70s? Like, hello."
Yeah.
Uh, and we find out that, well, he finds out that uh, what do you call it? Rita's immortality is gone. They have
Uh-huh.
taken that, and they're discussing it. Ultimately, it looks like at the end to me that the group that Willoughby's with is taking Jane's immortality away from her
Yes.
to
So
hold so that Immortus is not able to get that remaining piece that will enable him to
is
come
that the
back.
way you took it? Because I
Yes,
took it the way that the bunny was talking, that they may actually be in line
with
with
Immortus.
Immortus, and Willoughby was not okay with that. And that's why when the bunny shows up, he's like, "Yeah, we're well, then again,
I think that they took it for safekeeping
I
because
think you might be right because
he even
once they
mentions to them earlier on that they're idiots. Like, as long as
yeah,
you guys, he's like, as long as you guys don't put your immortality in jeopardy. We'll be fine." And they're like, we've already kind of we've already one person's already kind of lost it." So I think that ultimately set
That
alarm
one,
bells
and
off.
also when the group shows up, the first thing the one guy says is like, "We're doing what you couldn't."
Yeah,
So yeah, yeah, you might be right on that one.
I think but that is an
You've been right
interesting
so
thing.
far. I
Yeah,
shouldn't question you on Doom Patrol stuff here.
apparently don't happen very often because the other seasons I had no idea what was going on at all points in time. So this is
I mean,
just
I
one of
think
those
I
things where it kind
knew
of made a bit more sense with the
so I knew I figured out the one guy in hell was connected to Rita, obviously, and
yeah.
so like I knew that.
Yeah, there's it all is connected, Joe. So yeah, I did enjoy this, and I think it sets up a lot. It basically gives us our storyline of trying to take the immortality from these.
Yep.
Basically, we have only Cliff and Larry
Yep.
remaining, and I don't know what
Yeah.
happened to Larry with immortality. So maybe all these people lose that because her own self does not have the necklace anymore, Dorothy. So she doesn't have the immortality. They have the main chunk, and that are just trying to get the little shards that have been sprinkled. So who knows? Maybe Niles have more shards sprinkled out than just the
Also, he
Doom
could have
Patrol.
more hidden, but I would not be surprised
Or
if
more people, like more of individuals with pieces in it.
maybe I don't know.
Very interesting, Joe. I enjoyed the episode. Like
Next week is the or this week coming week is a mid-season finale,
mid-season
correct?
finale.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll go into a hiatus, not having any shows to talk about. Well, no,
Woo!
Talkville will be back at that point.
Taco
So
should be
Smallville.
back. I'll have my
January, I did look it up. They did
just
say January the 12th.
okay.
Yeah, 10
Okay.
days.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to get back talking about that too. I really
I
enjoy
gotta
Smallville.
get in the routine of things to watch because
Same.
I got a lot. We've got a lot to we're gonna be doing this year.
Yes.
For sure. So
Depending on if they push some of these movies. Nothing's for certain with DC anymore.
well, I'll just really refer more to shows, but yeah,
Shows too, but the
yeah,
movies
we've
and
got a
all
lot
the
going on this year, which is
it's
nice.
fun year, fun year.
Yeah.
So listeners, that pretty much ends the episode. Joe, this has been so much fun. Listeners, I hope you had a happy New Year's, a great celebrations, a great holiday season. Stick with us in the new year as we try to make sense of the DCEU changing to the DCU and what that means for all shows, movies, animations, and gaming, I guess.
Yeah. Mm, we'll see about that one.
See you next week, everyone.
Bye, guys.